Hello everybody, Ace here, giving it to you straight with day 20 of the video log challenge. Man, I'm actually kind of tired a little bit. It's a lot of work, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot, and I feel like I'm doing my purpose, so I'm very excited. And today, I wanted to talk to you about a, how do you say, tool that I've come to utilize in my life to help me gain control of my mind, and especially the racing thoughts and the mania, the manic, and the negativity and the pessimism, and all that stuff that kind of makes you just, makes you not want to really do much. So, I call it rooting for trauma. And the reason we call it rooting for trauma is because I believe that we have to get to the root of our issues in order to really let it go, in order to really overcome it. A lot of times we want to put band-aids on everything, and sometimes you really got to get to the bottom of it. And if you do that a little extra work, that's a little more uncomfortable, a little more yucky, it goes a lot further, because then you get to the root and you won't have to continue digging at it to try to let it go. I'm a kind of person that's all about efficiency and effectiveness, and I just want to get through to happiness and abundance as quickly as possible. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out things that can help me. And so the way it works is it's a three-step process. The first step, obviously, again, is going to be stopping and breathing. It's a theme. Usually I do this in meditation. I do it on my bed. I situate pillows. I make myself really comfortable. And I put on some solfeggio beats or binaural beats so that my mind has a little something to kind of pay attention to. And at the same time, I'm able to relax into myself, because I'm not just sitting in silence and thinking and doing all that. It has helped me a lot this last year in being able to clear my chakras, sit with myself, and ask myself questions, which is the next step. So you stop, you breathe, you ask yourself questions, or you just think. You could even just let your mind kind of go and just take a step back inside yourself and observe your thoughts and start questioning, why do I think these things? Where did that come from? Was this even mine? You start asking these questions from the observer standpoint, from the higher consciousness standpoint, and you can start to disassociate from the personal reality, the human experience, and that's when you can start getting into dissecting the happenstances and circumstances and situations in your life to find the lessons, and then you can move on from there. So you have stop, listen, stop, breathe, listen, ask yourself questions, and then listen to the answers, and trust. So again, yesterday's video was on self-trust, and it's trusting what you're listening and what you're hearing from yourself. And what I often do is I just let my mind kind of think back into my memory. I remember there's a point where I was drinking heavily, I wasn't meditating, I wasn't eating the best. They couldn't remember much of my past. I couldn't remember much of my childhood. I can't even really remember much of my Marine Corps career, because I spent the whole time either drunk or hungover from being drunk. And it's a shame, because I had such a wonderful time. I remember the people, but the individual events that were hilarious and great and so much fun, I was always inebriated. And so as I've been able to clear my mind, been able to heal myself, heal through my trauma, root for my trauma, do this process of rooting and letting go of my past, my mind has cleared, and I've been able to actually remember my past. And then that's when you get into the memories, and you start digging through those memories, and you start asking yourself questions like, what is this, what really happened? Is this how I really felt about that back then? Because when you start going into your past, how do you say, organically and without criticism, you start to see that it potentially might not be the way that we had cast it in our minds. In order for us to survive, especially if we're empathic, especially if we were very observant and very aware growing up, we had to figure out ways to almost lie to ourselves, make a new narrative, a new storyline about how awesome our childhood was and how well we were treated and how much love and the reality of it was, most of us, if not all of us, had a really rough childhood, because I believe that's the point. I believe that's what we call the breaking or the forgetting. At least in this old earth, this 3D consciousness, which was it, pretty much life breaks you young, and you go through a bunch of trauma, and then you got to use your adulthood to kind of root through it and figure yourself out and learn yourself, and then that's to me, the soul growth. And that's what makes Earth so powerful and so difficult of a life to live, is because we forget who we are and we have to live a life trying to remember and heal ourselves. And it's hard, and it's not what society has casted it, especially in the millennial generation and below. With this, everybody gets a trophy, everything's kittens and unicorns. If you're not happy, then there's something wrong with you. So go to the doctor and take this pill. Go distract yourself with this gadget. Go do this, that thing. And so this 5-stage, 6-stage process of rooting through trauma has really helped me look at my past for what it really was, so that I can be aware of it, then I can accept it, and then I can let it go. And you have to do these things because it's energy in our bodies, and those are lessons that we need to learn. As much as we want to take a pill or go for a run or do these things to heal that type of trauma, it's not going to happen, because the only way to heal it is to face it. We have to face ourselves, and the more we face ourselves, the more we actually realize that we like ourselves. The more we realize we like ourselves, we then love ourselves, and isn't that the whole goal? And if we love ourselves first, then we're going to love everybody, and everybody, for the most part, will love us. And the only people that hate us are the people that hate themselves, because they see how much we love us and everyone else, and that bothers them. It's amazing how the mirrors theory continues to be prominent in a lot of these videos. So let's get back into the process. So you stop, find yourself in a comfortable position, lying down, sitting up. I like to do both personally, because the more you learn to meditate sitting up, the stronger you'll strengthen your pineal gland, so that when you are doing your vinyasa, or they call it your dead man's pose type meditations, then we won't fall asleep. And that's the key, is that you want your body to fall asleep, but you don't want your mind to turn off. You want your mind to be aware and gaining clarity, because that is how you then ask yourself these questions, because you're getting out of your left side of your brain, which is kind of your monkey brain, which is your analytical brain, and it's the one that's always going, and then you move over into the right hemisphere, into your creative center, and that's when you can get into the subconscious or your subprocessor and start rearranging the programs, which is the last step. So you stop, find yourself a comfortable position, you breathe, you ask yourself some questions, or you listen, or you just listen or think to yourself. Then you listen to the answers, you embody those answers, you explore them, you see how they feel, or you explore the memory that you had just thought of, and you go deeper into it. And then from there, as you're breathing and you're meditating on that memory, you can start to move away from judging yourself and judging it, and moving into the observer, so that you can then come into the right side of your brain to rewrite that program or let it go. And this is all visualization. Visualization is key. So one of my favorite visualization techniques for this, especially if I just get a random negative thought in my head, like just something really ridiculous, like out of like a scary movie or something. And I'm like, why is that there? I don't like that. And I remember there was this one scene in Harry Potter, I believe it was in The Prisoner of Azkaban, when Dumbledore was, I think Harry Potter had the cloak on, and he was watching Dumbledore in his chambers, and Dumbledore had this bowl of memories, and I guess he had a bad memory, or something traumatic just happened to him, and he took his wand and he pulled his memory out, and he put it in this bowl because he wanted to keep it, but he didn't want to keep it in his head, because then it would just keep playing. It was pretty much a traumatic memory. And when he would look into the bowl and he would think about it, he would be able to see the memory in real time. And then when he left the chambers for some reason, Harry went up to it and he saw what that memory was, and he was all taken aback. And I think it was with Professor Snape. I don't know how I'm remembering any of this right now, but I guess I'm in a flow state. And I don't even know how I'm remembering this right now, but to me, it's just a perfect visualization technique, is when you have a negative thought, is either to visualize, or even you can even take your hands and visualize yourself taking out that memory or that thought. And what I do is I visualize God coming down from the sky with a laser beam, and I kind of toss the memory to him, and he's able to destroy it or turn it to vapor, or whatever you want to visualize. Because you got to understand that these consciousnesses of ours, this consciousness in our visualization and our imagination, everything's real. And I know that's going to be really hard to believe, because of the way we've been propagated to think differently. But this is the only thing that's real, is our thoughts. That's why they're so important, and that's why there's a war on our attention. It's really the only thing we can give. It's literally the only thing we can give in the world is our attention, and it's the foundation for love. And so by visualizing yourself taking these memories out that are no longer serving you, you're able to root out the trauma and then let it go, and then you can actually put in a new program in your mind. You can actually put in a different memory, or you can put in a different a situation or circumstance in the memory, and that way in your heart you still know what really happened, but your body isn't going to react to it. And that's how you actually process post-traumatic stress, is you find the memories that are stuck playing in their heads over and over and over again, and you root them out by doing this process. You breathe, you ask, you listen, you find the memory or the thoughts that you do not like, you root through them into your consciousness by asking yourself those questions, and by breathing, you move out of your left side of your brain and into the right side of your brain. And then you visualize yourself, once you target that memory, you can visualize yourself literally taking it out of your head, destroying it, and putting in a new situation, circumstance, or just resolving the memory and just leaving it out of your mind, and then your body doesn't react to it anymore. And that's what I wanted to leave with you today, was this process of eliminating traumatic memories from our minds and processing through memories, because that's the only way that we'll be able to truly let them go. It's not just going to therapy and learning that it happened. It's actually using visualization techniques to get into the subprocessor of this quantum computer, and then addressing it, accepting it, and letting it go. And once we can do that for ourselves, then there really isn't anything too traumatic, because at the very end you have now tools to apply that you know you'll be fine, because you can work through anything. And so if you liked what you've seen and heard today, hit that like button. If you want to join the Army of Energy, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see more content like this, go see me on Instagram at Conspiracy Realists, and check out my Dirt link and the HemiSync Gateway Experience link, which I'm leaving below. Day 6, absolutely incredible. I feel so much better. I'm becoming superhuman, basically. So I really appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you. Goodbye.